Good morning. It is 10 o'clock and welcome to Lincoln Ware Live. We're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11 right here on It's 38 and, of course, Inside Cable over in Northern Kentucky. And you can watch us online live. We're streaming live at WBQC.com. So you can call your friends all over the country and tell them to tune in to WBQC.com and watch Lincoln Ware Live. Well, Tuesday is the day. The countdown continues. And here's a guy that's going to be one of many lawyers from around the country that'll be making sure that your voter rights are protected. Brian Thomas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lincoln. Nice to be here.
Good to see you. Now, exactly what will you be doing on Election Day?
Well, we're a part of the nationwide election protection efforts. It's a nationwide service that has satellite offices all across the country. What we're trying to do is protect those voters who have registered, who are qualified to vote. We want to protect their right to cast that ballot. So on November 4th, and even before then, because we'll probably talk about early voting, but that's going on right now. We are supporting those efforts and preventing misinformation. If there are issues at the polls, including voter intimidation, anything like that, we're an available resource to be there for the people.
All right. We're here today to clear up any misinformation that you've received on voting, early voting, and voting on November 4th. Give us a call right now at 381-3838, 651-3838. The area code is 513. We'll answer your question. The first question we want to answer about wearing of any material, any clothing or buttons or hats with any of the candidates' names on it. That's a no-no.
That is a no-no. It's a big issue this year. It goes back to an Ohio Revised Code Law 3501.35, and what it says in that law is there should be no active campaigning. Now, some pollsters, some polling places may view wearing buttons, if you have a McCain shirt or an Obama hat, they will view that as active campaigning, and that's not allowed. What we advise people to do is if you do want to wear your shirts, and a lot of people are wearing shirts, when you go into the polling place, either take it off, turn it inside out, wear a jacket. If you have a hat, take it off. And we know there are some First Amendment implications there, but now's not the time. What you need to do is cast that ballot.
Cast that ballot. Don't argue with the people at the poll. Just you know it in advance, so don't try to push the button. Don't try to push it to the limit.
That's right.
Just go in there, take your campaign materials off, and go in there and cast your ballot.
The most important thing in our democracy is being able to voice your opinion and cast that ballot. We just advise you, take those materials off and make sure your rights are upheld.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back, and we'll take some of your phone calls. If you have questions about voting, early voting, if you have questions about going to your polls on November 4th, give us a call, 381-3838, 651-3838. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. Remember the phone number 513-381-3838 or 513-651-3838. So we've got two sets of numbers you can call to get in if you've got questions on November 4th, going to the polls November 4th, or early voting, which is I can't believe the numbers that are turning out for early voting.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. This year is the first year it's a no-fault early voting. In the past, you would have an absentee ballot, and you had to prove why you couldn't be there on Election Day. Now, if you want to, you can go early, and early voting still going on November 3rd. So I would encourage you all to go to early voting.
Now, what happens if a person knows that they're registered, maybe they've been going to the same polling place for years, they show up on Election Day, and then all of a sudden their name is not in the book or something? Well, what should they do? Seek one of you guys out, or what?
There are three things they should do. The first thing, and this is sort of a precursor to getting to that polling place, call your Board of Elections right now. Call the Board of Elections, find out if you are registered, because what you want to do is prevent any problems before they arise. That's the first thing. The second thing is you can call election protection. We have a toll-free phone line, which is 1-866 Our Vote. It's 1-866-OUR VOTE. And if you call that line, you will be connected with someone in the national service that will funnel it back to the local service. And if we need to intervene on your behalf, we can do that. The third thing that you can do is, if you're in the correct polling place, you can cast what's known as a provisional ballot. Now, provisional ballots are, in essence, an unverified ballot. What they will do, the election officials will find out if later on you were supposed to be able to vote then at that polling place, then they will count your vote. Now, the important thing about a provisional ballot is
they only count it 10 days after the election.
That's absolutely right. And our view is, if you can get that verified ballot cast, that's the most important thing. But don't leave that polling place without being able to vote.
Now, what should, once again, and I don't care how many times we go, somebody will show up at the polls without the correct identification. What do they need?
What they need, they can have a photo ID, which could be a government-issued ID. It could be a state ID. It could be a driver's license. Make sure you have that. In the past, we could just go and say our name. I'm Lincoln Ware. Here's my address, and then you were allowed to vote. Now you have to show proof of ID, so make sure you bring a photo identification with you.
If you don't have a photo identification, they will let you have a Duke Energy bill.
That's right.
A government check.
That's absolutely right.
Anything with the address of that polling area.
That's absolutely right. And there are also some rules with polling precincts. A lot of times people will move. My wife and I actually moved since the last election, so we went in and put our change of address information. Now, some people wait until election day, which I don't encourage, but if you have moved within the same precinct, you can still vote. You fill out a voter change of address form at that precinct. Now, the other thing is, if you've moved out of that precinct and you're in another polling place, you go to your new polling place. And now, again, I've raised that provisional ballot. You have to cast a provisional ballot. So there are some laws that you have to abide by. The main thing is contact your Board of Election to make sure on November 4th, or if you vote early on November 3rd, that you're complying with all those laws.
Okay, so what if you haven't turned in your change of address? Can you go back to your old polling place even if you've moved?
If you've moved, your new polling place is the new address polling place.
You can't go back to the place.
You can't go back. What will happen is, if you try to go back and they know that your new address is another address, they will say, well, this person hasn't registered or hasn't entered their change of address, so they can't vote.
Okay, because somebody else may be living at that house and they'll have that address.
That's absolutely right.
Okay, all right, want to hear any your horror stories, election day horror stories, or maybe even early voting horror stories. We want to hear about them right here at 381-3838, 651-3838. What about this big question on felons in Ohio? That is, people get that so screwed up, it's just unbelievable.
That's right, and conventional wisdom was that if I'm a felon, I lose my right to vote. Not true. Not true at all. If you're a felon and you're incarcerated, or you're continuing with a probation or some other type of punishment, that's when you cannot vote. But if you're out, if you were convicted of a felony and you're out, the one requirement is you had to re-register, but then you're allowed to vote. You're absolutely allowed to vote.
Even if you've been convicted of murder,
that's right,
and you serve your time, when you get out, you can vote.
You can vote. You can vote.
Because people have that so confused now, and a lot of convicted felons out there won't vote because they don't think they can vote.
That's absolutely right.
And they're not getting the correct information.
And that's what we talk about with misinformation. People just don't know their rights, and it's such an important right in our democracy that you need to know the facts.
All right, let's go to the telephones. 513-381-3838, 513-651-3838 if you want to jump on board. All right, let's go to Sherry. Sherry, good morning. You're on Lincoln We're Live. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good morning, Lincoln, and your guests.
Morning.
I had a question. I just moved October 1, and I don't know if I should go to the Board of Elections to place my vote, or can I do an absentee ballot vote even though my address has changed?
You can. Right now with early voting, and there's some confusion there as well, If you early vote, you do vote at the Board of Elections, and unfortunately, that's why we've seen such long lines outside of the Board of Elections. We don't have all the individual polling places. But if you want to do your in-person absentee balloting, that ends on November 3rd, tomorrow. So go to your Board of Elections, you can put your change of address in, and you'll be allowed to vote.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Sherry, thanks for your call. Let's go to Walter. Walter, good morning. You're on Lincoln Ware Live. How are you?
Oh, all right. I got. They told me that I had to go home and change my shirt and come back because I had Ralph Nader for president on.
You had what?
Ralph Nader for president
Okay.
T-shirt on, and they
Yeah.
told me that I had to go home and come back with my shirt. And I told them I wanted a code and law written down, and I wanted to know about it, And they couldn't come up with it. And I said, well, you got to either show me where it's on the books and the records. And they're sitting there arguing with me, told me go on. And they said he's going to call the police. I said, go ahead and call the police.
And they should have, because
And
you
police came there, and
you've
guess
seen
what?
this show.
The policeman-
We've had people on this show from the Board of Elections.
But I went in
you've
and
seen
voted
them.
with the shirt on. I won.
Oh,
The
go
policeman said you can go right ahead and go on. I went ahead and went in with my shirt on.
Well,
Yeah, there's no law that you can have a Ralph Nader for
There-
president shirt on.
There is a law.
No, there isn't. You give me the code.
Well, the code section is Ohio Revised Code 3501.35. What that code says is that you cannot, within 100 feet of the polling place.
Yeah, have bumper stickers and the yard signs and stuff like that, but not a
no,
T-shirt.
let him finish.
The code section says that you cannot actively campaign, and active campaigning has been construed as wearing a Ralph Nader T-shirt, a Joe Biden hat, a John McCain hat, an Obama T-shirt. Any of those types of things can be construed as active campaigning. Now, at election protection, what we want people to do is you may.
Well, it doesn't sound free.
Okay, when did you do this?
Well, I'll tell you what, they must have goofed up then because I made such a big
Walter,
ruckus.
where was this?
Where was it? Where I voted in Bryanville. You know where it is.
Okay, that wasn't this election then.
I'm sorry?
That had to be
Yeah,
back
it was
in
the last election,
2004.
exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they really weren't enforcing that in 2004
Well, I'm
like
going to
they
try
are
it.
now.
I'm going to try it again this
okay,
time. And
try
see.
it again, and I hope they lock
But
you
may
up.
I finish something?
Yes.
On McCain and Obama, they both went for the bailout, where the money goes to those rich executives for they can go party and stuff like that. McCain and Obama are one and the same. That's why I'm going to vote for Nader this time again.
Okay.
God bless you, Lincoln.
And if you wear your T-shirt, I hope they lock you
I'm
up.
going to try it again. I'll
All
take
right.
little Lincoln with me. He'll protect me.
All right. Thanks for your call. I'll lock him up and throw away the key. All right, let's go to James. James, good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Pretty good. What's on your mind?
I'm a registered voter, and I moved in July, and I called down to the Board of Elections, and I was told I couldn't vote. So I'm trying to see what I need to do, or if there's a different number I can call.
Did you move within precincts?
Yeah, I lived in Clifton. Now I live in Walnut Hills.
Well, what you can do, go down to the Board of Elections. You can always change your information. What would be interesting, when did they tell you that you couldn't vote?
Well, I called, a week ago.
Well, what you can do, go to the Board of Elections, tell them your new address, and if you can verify your new address, you should be able to issue a provisional ballot on Election Day or even earlier. And if that new address is verified, then that vote should count.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks for your call. Now, can he bring something with him?
Absolutely.
Like a bill or something?
That's what he needs. He needs
And
the
then they could-
verification.
right, and they can verify right then with that. Okay.
Absolutely right.
And so he could probably get just a regular ballot instead of a provisional.
That's absolutely right.
Okay, because you really don't want, the last resort is a provisional ballot.
That's right. That's right. The provisional ballot is the unverified ballot, and it may or may not count. What we want to do is make sure that people cast ballots that will count.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and take more of your calls right here at 381-3838 or 651-3838. Of course, if you live in Northern Kentucky, it's 513 is the area code. We'll take a break. Come right back.
Ralph Nader.
We are back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. Of course, we're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11 o'clock. We've got attorney Brian Thomas with us this morning, and we want to make sure you're able to vote on Election Day, or maybe if you live in Butler County, they're out there voting today. They're extended their early voting to Sunday. Not in Hamilton County, only in Butler County.
That's right. That's
So
right.
someone called in and wanted to know that. So it's only in Butler County they're having voting today. I think it's going on till 4 o'clock this
I
afternoon.
believe that's right.
All right, let's go to Pat. Pat, good morning. How are you?
Oh, fine. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yes.
I'm
Good.
doing fine.
Okay, I have a question. I have moved to my sister's apartment, which is about 2 blocks from where I used to live at. Okay, I did a change of address, and then I sent for an absentee ballot, and then I registered my niece and my nephew for new voters and absentees. I received my absentee ballot, but they did not receive one.
Are they registered to vote?
No, on the same piece of paper, it had the registration to register to vote, and then at the bottom of the paper for absentee ballot, I sent both of them in. It was connected. The paper was connected.
Did you do that before October 6th?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And they were registered?
No, on the paper, it said register first, and then the bottom of the paper, it said absentee. So they registered, and then the absentee at the bottom of the paper, I sent both of them in. The paper was connected.
Well,
They never did receive anything, but I received mine.
you will have to contact the Board of Elections to see if they're actually registered. That's the first step. If they are registered, they can go in for in-person early voting and vote at that time. The ballots have to be, whether they're absentee or not, they have to be received by November 4th. So that would be your first step. Go to the Board of Elections, see if you're actually registered.
And can't they find out online if
They
they're
can.
registered?
They
Yeah,
can. Actually, you can go to our website, which is www.866ourvote.org, and you can check your registration there.
Okay, and also, my nephew, like that home incarceration, you got the sting on your leg. He's not eligible to vote, is he?
yeah.
Is he a felon?
Well, he don't have no felony. I don't think it's a felony.
Okay, is he waiting to stand trial?
Oh, he already did that. So they put the bracelet on
Okay, is
his
this
leg.
part of his sentence?
Yes.
If it's an active part of his sentence, then he cannot vote. But a lot of people are misinterpreted as well, and they may have been convicted of a misdemeanor. It's only a felony that will prevent you from voting. So it may be that he can't vote in this election, but I'd encourage him when he completes his sentence to get out, re-register, and vote in the next election.
And a lot of people, part of their bail is to be put on home incarceration, so they can still vote. If they haven't even had the trial yet and they're on home incarceration, they still can vote. If they may be absentee, I don't know if between what out, sometimes they have restricted hours that they can be out, but
And
Yes,
the
he does.
the one restriction on that is you can't have pleaded guilty to a felony after September 30th. If not, then you can certainly vote.
Okay, then I'll go down to the Board of Elections with him and ask them. And another one, I read that a person that's mentally handicapped cannot vote. Is that true? If they, a person could be mentally handicapped, but towards a certain limitation. So then they said a judge has to have an okay whether that person can vote or not.
What you're referring to is competence. People have to be
Yeah.
competent to be able to do just about anything that has legal significance. So if you have a disability, per se, you could have a learning disability, you can have assistance at the polls, but if you're rendered incompetent, then you can't vote.
Okay.
all right.
Okay, thanks a lot for y'all help.
Thanks for your call. Glad we could help you. The phone number 381-3838, 651-3838. If you've got questions, we're coming down to the wire 48 hours and it'll be all over. So if you've got questions now's the time to get them out, and hopefully we can help you make your day a little shorter, because I got a feeling a lot of people, it's going to be a long day. People who didn't early vote, people who decided to wait to November 4th to get out there, just be patient. That's all I can say. You're going to have to be patient, because this is going to be a record turnout at the polls, And I got a feeling there'll be some long lines.
There are going to be long lines. Some folks are saying they're anticipating 135 people voting in this election. That's phenomenal. 135 million people. Yep.
Unbelievable. Charles, good morning. Charles.
Yes, good morning.
How you
Good
doing?
morning, Lincoln, to you and your guests. I have a question. They've sent me my,
Turn your TV down. Can you do that?
yeah,
It's confusing you.
they sent me my voters' information to my house where I live at, but my mailing address is different. Does that matter?
Okay.
No, do you have two addresses?
No, well, see, my mail goes to my daughter's house,
Oh.
but they sent me my voting information to my house.
Did they have a polling place where you're supposed to vote on there? Did they have where you're supposed to go, the precinct and everything?
Yeah, I've been voting at the same place.
Well, I would go wherever the card said.
That's right, and it shouldn't matter if the precincts are within the same location, whether at one address or another address, that shouldn't matter. What I would advise you to do is when you get there, if you're now located at another address, is to get a change of address there, but it shouldn't matter if you're within precincts.
And take that card with you that you received.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for your call.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Angela. Angela, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. What's your question?
My question is, I live in Butler County, and I heard about the early voting, and I'm wondering where I can go to vote today.
At the Butler County Board of Elections.
At the Butler County Board of Elections?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know roundabout where that is located?
That I don't know.
I don't know the address either, but it is in the telephone book. You
Or
can
just
go
call
on the computer.
information, or if you have access to the website, just go on the website and they'll have the address and everything there, or just call information.
Okay, now on the November 4th last year, I was able to go to a local school and vote, and I was wondering if you knew if some of the same areas that were open for the polls last year, or in the last election, would be able to vote still in the same places in this election.
You need to find your specific polling place, because I lived in the same area for several years and I didn't move at all, and my polling place moved for me. So you need to find out where you're supposed to vote, and the easiest way to do that is go to the Board of Elections or call the Board of Elections.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your call.
Thank you.
513-381-3838, 651-3838. That's my number. You have questions on voting, early voting, or voting on November 4th, give us a call. Let's go to Newton. Newton, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Good, good. I had the same problem a gentleman just had when he called. I called down to the Board of Elections, and they said I wasn't registered to vote, and I hadn't voted since 1996. And that was, I guess, a lie, because I voted in the 2000 election and the 2004 election. 2004, I had to go get a piece of mail to verify my address. So I can't understand how they're saying that I'm not a registered voter and I can't vote in a presidential election.
Unfortunately, this is what we run into a lot. We, with Election Protection, put out a voter registration effort, and as you know, in Ohio, it ended on October 6th. So we wanted people to check their status before October 6th so that we didn't run into these types of situations. Where we are right now is if you're going to the polls and they tell you you can't vote, the only thing that you have left is that provisional ballot, and you may be able to cast that. If they're telling you right now that you hadn't registered, it's a difficult situation now because they have to sort through all those issues.
Yeah, and it's sort of late to try to get all that done now, but
Well, actually, my reason for calling them was because I had already filled out a voter registration form, like back during the summertime, and then also before the deadline.
now when you say you voted in 2004, did they have you sign a book when you voted?
Exactly.
So your signature is on one of those books at your polling
Actually,
place?
it should be on two of them. the 2000 election and also 2004.
So you need to have that precinct number. You need to go, now they probably got those books all ready to go out to the precincts, and they can't get to those books right now. If you had gone in earlier, they could check those books down at the Board of Elections to find your signature.
I talked to him, Lincoln, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, at this point,
it's a difficult situation.
And you'll probably have tons of people calling.
We will have folks calling, and we will intervene when we can. But in many ways, if the information that they have is different than what you can provide, it may not be this year that you can cast that ballot, unfortunately.
Hey, thanks for your call.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Bridget, Fred, Tanya, Gidget, and others. We'll come back and talk to all of you right here on Lincoln Ware Live. We'll try to answer your questions today on voting, November 4th. Back in a moment. And we are back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. Don't forget you can catch us online as we are streaming live video at WBQC.com. Yes, every Sunday morning from 10 until 11. We've got Brian Thomas as our guest this morning, and he's going to be one of the thousands of attorneys around the country to make sure your vote is counted, to make sure you're able to vote, and where do you think they're going to have the biggest problems? Texas or where? Where
I think it may be the same situation we had in Florida and possibly Ohio. Hopefully we don't run into those same types of issues. But the difficulty is we don't know. We just don't know, and that's why we're trying to have our satellites all over the country to deal with some of these problems.
Now, I heard in Texas people were punching Obama and it was jumping up to McCain.
That's right, and the information that we learned is that it is a computer error. Now, some conspiracy theorists may say it's not necessarily a computer error, but our goal is to prevent any of those errors from happening. So if you run into, and a lot of times in Ohio we have the actual ballots that you circle or darken the circles, so we may not have those types of issues, but we will hear those things. And if you run into irregularities or anything going on, please let us know.
Now, even Oprah Winfrey voted, and she had the electronic, and she voted for Obama, which we probably all know. And when they gave her the printout, it showed that she didn't even vote for a presidential candidate.
That's right, and that's why it's important to check. A lot of these electronic voting polling places will have receipts so you can check your vote.
Yeah.
If you're at one of those places, make sure you check that receipt, because it's important. Not just we saw that with movie theaters. You go to a movie theater and get a ticket stub from somewhere else.
Another movie.
That's right. So if it's important enough for a movie theater, it's important enough for your right to vote.
One other thing, here in Ohio, what I think we're gonna run into problem. Normally those machines are used to taking ballots that haven't been folded, that are flat. I'm worried about the early voting. I had to fold my ballot up, put it in an envelope, and then they seal the envelope. So when those ballots come out folded, are they going to feed through the machine correctly?
And that's one issue, but another issue, Lincoln, that I'd like to discuss is the actual length of the ballots. Make sure you know how you're going to vote and you know all the issues that you're going to be voting on before you get there, because at least the ballot that I filled out, I early voted with my wife, and it was 2 full pages front and back. That's a lot, even if you know how you're going to vote. So make sure you do that before.
That's a lot. All right, let's go back to the telephones. Let's see who's been holding on the longest. It looks like Fred has been holding on the longest. Fred, how are you?
I'm all right.
What's going on?
Hey, man, I went down to board elections and voted the other day. Okay, they gave me a provincial ballot.
Yes.
And it was, the main thing is I had moved last week, and where I voted at before, I had a paper, showing that I voted there. That was at Skyline Recreation Hall. Okay, when I moved, I didn't have time to go down and fill out a change of address. I did that at the post office.
Okay.
But when I went down there and I showed them my ID and Social Security card, they told me I had to vote on a provincial ballot.
because they didn't have your change of address. They
Right.
probably hadn't got to it because they are so overwhelmed with all the new registrations and things like that, till they probably just didn't have it. It probably would have been best for you to go down to the Board of Elections to change that address.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of lessons we're learning in this election, we can apply to the future elections, and some of the problems that we will go through. Maybe they'll help later on, but we're seeing a lot of those issues with provisional ballots and the like.
Yeah, so there's a possibility they won't even count my vote.
Well, it depends. If it's a real close election, they might, but if it's not close, it probably won't be counted. And then they'll count it 10 days after the election has been determined, and then they'll just say, well, so-and-so received another 50 votes, you know, but yeah, those provisional ballots, it's almost like a no vote, a non-vote, but you have to do it, you know, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they say on here...
It's better than not voting. Put it this way, it's better than not voting at all.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Well,
Fred.
anyhow, Obama's going to win anyhow.
Who?
Obama.
All right.
Yeah,
Go
he's
ahead.
going to win.
All right, Fred.
All right, thanks, man.
Thanks for your call. It's Fred from Colerain. Let's go to Atonia, I believe. Atonia?
Hello, yes.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you, Lincoln Ware?
Okay.
I put in October the 6th for my voter's registration card, and they told me it would be to me in 2 to 3 weeks, and I haven't received it yet. So am I able to still go ahead and vote?
Okay, where did you register?
Here in Westwood.
Okay.
You can do a couple of things. You can contact your Board of Elections, go online, go to the website that I mentioned earlier, the 866-OurVote.org, and you can check your registration there. It's important to see if you are registered so that you can prevent any problems once you get to the polls. Get those things corrected right now, because as we talked about, the only option may be a provisional ballot, but if you can avoid that, try to avoid that.
Now, they can call in to get the same information, can't they?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's that number again?
It's 1-866-OUR-VOTE. It's 1-866-OUR-VOTE.
All right?
All right, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your call. Let's go to Gidget. Gidget, how are you? Gidget,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
I just have one quick question.
Yes.
I heard that if you're a type of voter that either chooses an all-Democratic ballot or an all-Republican ballot, that you must choose your president or it doesn't count. Is that true?
What?
I've never...
Wait, repeat that again. Repeat that again.
If you go into the voting polls and choose an all-Democratic ticket or an all-Republican ticket, that if you don't actually choose your president, like either McCain or Obama, that your president won't count. Is that true?
I've not heard that, and as I said before, did you hear that on an email, or where did you get that information?
Absolutely, on an email.
A lot of the emails are
Yeah.
just so anybody can send those types of emails, and I've seen emails that say we vote on Wednesday, and that's just not the case.
Well, the Republicans vote on Wednesday, the Democrats vote on Tuesday. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
That's misinformation, Lincoln. I won't let you get away with that.
Just kidding. All right. Thanks for your
thank
call.
you.
All right. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back. Bridget, Sherry, Charles, and others that are holding on with questions on Election Day, November 4th, coming up. And if you've got questions, we'll try to answer them today. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And we are back live, Lincoln Ware. Live is the program. My guest, attorney Brian Thomas. Not the guy that you hear on 55 KRC every morning. Not that guy. This is another attorney, Brian Thomas. Okay. All right. Let's go to, let's see who's been holding on the longest. Looks like Bridget. Bridget, how are you? Okay, you got your TV up. Bridget, turn your TV down, and then if I have time, I may get back to you. Everybody else that's on hold, turn your TV down and listen to the TV through your telephone. I think we're sending the signal through the telephone on hold. Yes. Sherry, how are you?
Hi, Lincoln Ware.
How you doing?
I'm fine. And
Good.
your guest? Hello. I'm trying to find out why is it so confusing on the ballot. I'm looking at absentee, and they've got so many common pleas judges that you can vote for, and I'm just confused because after you do your one vote for one only, it starts to ask you 100 more judges to vote for. And I only like Melba Marshall, the judge of common pleas, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah. Well,
But
she's
then
she's running unopposed, I think.
Yeah, on a nonpartisan ballot. It's
Yeah.
on an official nonpartisan ballot. But I'm just trying to find out, how many do you just vote for one on that?
Well, they'll have two of them there in the box, and then they'll say only vote for one.
Right.
So then you move to the next box.
And it's another common pleas judge.
Right. There's a lot of common pleas judges that are running for office.
But you only vote for one.
Out of the two that's there for you.
Oh, okay. That's what I was confused about. I thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for your call. All right. Yeah, a lot of them are running unopposed. In the box, there'll be one or two there. So you just have to take the one that's unopposed.
She did a good thing in pulling that ballot early, because had she waited and gone to the
she
polling
wouldn't
place,
have
she
known
wouldn't have known.
But we know who her favorite is, Judge Melba Marsh. Charles, how are you?
Yes. Good afternoon or good morning, whichever it
It's
is.
still morning, Charles. You haven't hit that Jack Daniels yet, have you?
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
I don't drink before 10.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you're late. You better get started.
I know. I just wanted to ask, how long has it been since they dropped the age on voting? They went from, I think you had to be 21 for years and years, and then they dropped it to, what, the 18?
When was that, back in the 70s, I believe?
It was a constitutional amendment, and it was to allow people who are serving in the military, if they're going to serve in the military, you should be able to vote. So it was a reaction to that. So it's been some years.
I know, because why do you think our forefathers were so strict on who was able to vote and who wasn't? They restricted an awful lot of people from voting when this country was founded and years after. Now anybody can vote.
Well, not anybody, but anybody above the age of 18 that qualifies, that fulfills the qualifications.
Well, at one time, it would be very hard to vote twice. And it's very easy to vote twice now if you really wanted to vote twice. I've already voted, and I voted 2 other times, but all you have to do is find someone who you know has never voted or didn't care about voting and isn't going to vote, take them down and get them registered and let them give them your vote, and you can vote. And I think it's terrible it's that
Even
easy
if they
anymore.
could vote twice, only one of those votes would probably count. They would probably catch it. Is that correct?
And that's right.
No. There's one vote.
Hold on, Charles. Just listen to his explanation, and then you can comment.
A lot of people have been raising the issue with voter fraud, and it's fine to get as many people as you want on those registration rolls, but at some point you have to go to the polling place and show ID, prove who you are, and then cast that ballot. So there are some safeguards to voting.
There's a vote down there for Sis Roxanne in the last name, and there's a vote down there for Jeff Bear in the last name, and they both have an address. They've never voted before this year, and the vote's in. Actually, the vote is for Roxanne and Bear, and I guess who that is. It can be done easy. Get somebody with an address and take them down and get them registered who don't care about their vote, and then give it to you to let you fill out a one you send in later. It's very simple to do.
Okay, they're going to have some type of proof if they go down to vote.
There's not a person eating over in the Covington Parish kitchen that don't have proof who they are.
Okay, then.
And a lot of them don't care if they vote or not, never voted before.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, the absentee, I don't know. How do they track the absentees?
Well, it's like anyone else. Once you've voted, they'll place a mark on your list saying you can't vote again. And I think one thing that people fail to realize, they make it sound like it's so easy to commit fraud and go ahead and vote twice or vote under other names. People forget it's a crime. So there is a disincentive to people doing that. And people aren't going to want to be convicted of a crime if they're involved in voter fraud. And it's as much as we hear about it, it's not as widespread as some of the theories.
So, Charles, if you have committed voter fraud, You can't drink any Jack Daniels when you're behind bars, so you better watch it. Bridget, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there we go.
Hello, Lincoln.
How you doing?
I'm fine. I really have a comment. I went down and I voted early at the Board of Elections, and the line was quite long. We was like the first people there, but it stretched all the way to the 800 building. And as we entered the building, a gentleman looked around and he walked back and forth to the line, and then he stood there and he said he was offering $100 for anybody to give up their space in the line. So I guess my question to you is that a legal practice? And we can tell who the Republicans are.
Okay, Brian's going to answer that. I'm going to take a shot. Thanks for your call. I'm going to say it's not illegal if he wants to just take your place in line. He's not paying you $100 to buy your vote or anything. He just wants your spot in line.
That should be right. You know, there's nothing that he's not preventing you from voting. It would be no different than if you go down to a Bengals game and someone says, do you mind if I cut in line, and here's a little compensation for that. Yeah. It's not a great practice. We wouldn't advise people to do that, but at the end of the day, this person's not preventing you from voting.
Right.
Don't get out of line.
Right. If he said, I'm going to give you $100 if you vote for Obama or McCain, then that's right. Then you got some issues.
That's different.
All right, let's go to Chris. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Yes, I'm all right. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Yes, I was just calling about some insight on issue 5 and 8. I mean, I wasn't really calling about the voting period. I'm registered and everything, and I know where to go. I was just basically calling on, to get some more information on issues 5 and 8.
Well, issue 5 is simple. If you want payday loans to stay in Ohio, if you maybe use them and you think they're great and you want them to stay, you vote no. If you think they're ripping you off and they're charging too much for interest and things like that, you vote yes, and they'll be gone.
Okay,
Now, the issue 8, that's proportional representation. You may be able to explain that.
Well, I would advise you to look at the newspapers and the news to find that information, because election protection is a nonpartisan entity, and I don't want to raise the appearance of impropriety by trying to tell someone how to vote or give you information on voting. But the information is out there, and I think actually in this today's paper there was something about that. So there are resources. Look for that on your own.
Check B7. Check B7 on the local section in the Enquirer.
All right, thanks.
It's got a rundown on all the issues statewide and some local issues also, so that'll help bring you up to speed on that. We got about 2 minutes left. Got time for maybe 1 or 2 more calls. If you call in real quick at 381-3838, 651-3838. We want to get everybody's questions answered before November 4th. They get there and then their name is not there. They don't know what they get there. They're wearing Obama t-shirts and they send them back. And we want to clear up all the questions that you have because we've only got about 48 hours left. And any final words you want to say to the people?
The most important thing is find out information about whether you're registered to vote, where you're registered to vote, and look at the ballot before you get there. Anticipate long lines and don't be discouraged by those long lines. This is fundamental to our democracy. It's important to get in there and cast your ballot. That's the only way that your voice is heard.
All right. I think we've got maybe 1 minute left. Do we have time for one caller? Give me the name of somebody that's holding on, and we'll try to get one caller in real quick. You got a name for me? Okay. Hello, how you doing?
Good.
What's your question real quick?
How do I find out what time my voting poll opens?
Where do you live? Kentucky or Ohio?
Ohio.
6:30 to 7:30. 6:30 a.m. to 7:30. You talking about early voting or election day?
Election day.
6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your call. That was simple enough.
That was simple. We like
Brian,
those.
thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely, Lincoln.
Really appreciate it. And we're going to take a quick break, and I'll come back and wrap things up. Brian Thomas was my guest this morning, and we want to thank him. We'll take a quick break, and I'll come back and wrap things up right here on Lincoln Ware Live on It's 38. Back in a moment. We are back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. And don't forget, we're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11. If you didn't catch the entire show, we'll be back on tonight at 8 o'clock on WOTH, Channel 25. We'll be back on at 8 o'clock tonight. You don't want to miss that show. And what is this? Elliot Block is coming in here. This is my 250th show? Are you kidding me? This is the 250th show? Man, I can't believe it. Thank you, Elliot. How about that? Man, how time flies. I can remember back at the old station when it looked like a funeral home. I had flowers and drapes. It looked like I was at a funeral home. We have come a long way here at It's 38. You better believe it. So thank you, Elliot. And maybe we'll have 250 more if we can get Time Warner to get off their rear ends and put us on Time Warner. We love Insight Cable over in Northern Kentucky. Time Warner is who we have an issue with, so maybe we'll get on one day soon. All right, today at noon, it's Strange Bedfellows. Yes, Strange Bedfellows. A rebroadcast of this show tonight, as I said earlier, on Channel 25. And tonight at 9, after the rebroadcast of this show, Professional English Soccer, Bolton Wanderers, and they take on Everton. So that's all happening tonight on WOTH Channel 25. So don't forget a rebroadcast of this show tonight at 8 o'clock. Don't forget, catch me Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WDBZ. Yes, 12:30 a.m. You can catch me there every day. And don't forget, you can also call me at 679-6028. Leave me a message. I'll try to get back to you if time allows. I like to call people and answer their questions that they might have about anything that's the past shows or things like that. We answer your calls. All right, but that's going to wrap it up for me today. I'm going to the Bengals game. That means they will win. This is the first game that I've gone to this year, and it's got to be a win for the Bengals over Jacksonville today. I'm out of here. I'll see you at the game. A victory for the Bengals. Who they? Where they?